we're gonna stay in the NBA because this is a topic that I think has went under the radar a little bit because of all the moves that has been made, and it's hard to say under the radar because normally when it comes to a team like LA, the media is all over it. But the NBA has been wild with the transactions, and this kind of went under the radar a little bit. But I think it's going to be a bigger conversation in the days to come, and it's going to be pertaining to LeBron James and his future with the Los Angeles Lakers. And the question that we have right now is, do the Lakers have a LeBron James problem amid these latest trade rumors? And Zach, again, I would like to do the honors and kick us off here because initially I was going to save this for a take for 99. I'm just going to combine what I really want to say. And look, I think what the Lakers should do, and yes, they do have a problem, and I think they need to fix that problem and get rid of that problem. And I think they need to trade LeBron James, but I'll get there in a second. LeBron James and Rich Paul, Zach, to put it in perspective, has been manipulating the NBA for a long time, almost like a decade now, right? And I said this before on the air. You wasn't on that show. I'm gonna say it again. Uh, Rich Paul is the Frankie Carbo of the NBA, right? For those of y'all who don't know who Frankie Carbo is, he was the guy behind the scenes in boxing, pulling strings, okay, manipulating boxing, all right, to his benefit. And I'm looking at Rich Paul in the same category. Obviously, what he's doing is legal. Nobody's gonna say he's not doing anything illegal. Frankie Carbo is a crook, all right. But I'm not comparing him to a crook. I'm just saying he's manipulating the game and pulling strings behind the scenes, and that's exactly what he's doing. And nobody's going to deny that. He did the same thing with Anthony Davis when he wanted to get him to LA, or Anthony Davis wanted to go to LA, or LeBron wanted him to go to LA, whatever it was, he did it with Anthony Davis. Okay, Ben Simmons, same thing when he wanted to leave Philly. He did these bullying tactics, showing up late to practice and all that, just not anything that's done with class, not anything that's done with respect, right? It's really aggressive. I'm not gonna show up to work, manipulating the game. And LeBron James has been manipulating the Lakers. He forced them to draft his son, okay, and hire his podcast buddy in JJ Redick. And the Lakers obviously created and pulled off the biggest heist in NBA history that took place at midnight when everybody was asleep and couldn't see it, or saw it when they woke up in the morning when they traded for Luka Doncic, obviously. And yet that doesn't please a player like LeBron. And why doesn't it please a player like LeBron? Because LeBron has zero loyalty to the sport of basketball. And I'm going to narrow this. I'm not going to read the book of LeBron James and what he did and what he didn't do. I'm going to narrow it down. He created a culture in which stars have ditched their teams to win championships. That's why superstars like Kevin Durant are fine with team hopping. This guy, team hop, he want to play with the Suns, the Nets, the Thunder, the Rockets, and LeBron James has played for 3 franchises in his career, Cleveland twice. What makes you think he wouldn't want to play for a 4th? What's the difference? I say it like this, Zach, and maybe I might get in trouble, whatever. I'm not. It's our podcast. But it's like a woman who been with many men. What's going to stop her from dating the 6th men or sleeping with the 7th men? She did it already. Okay? Same thing with Kevin Durant. He went to this team. He's team hopping. What makes you think he's not going to hop to the next team? What makes you think LeBron James not going to hop to the next team? Okay? This is why, and this is the unsung reason why European basketball players have completely took over the sport of basketball in the American game. Luka Doncic never requested a trade. He got traded. That's because he wasn't taking the game seriously, showing up overweight and not even trying on the defensive end. But he never requested a trade. Giannis never requested a trade. I won't be surprised if we do, but I might be surprised if we do, if you know what I mean. My point exactly. SGA never requested a trade. Jokic never requested a trade. These were teams that drafted these players. And I know the naysayers going to say, well, Lil, teams ain't loyal. They're not loyal because you're expendable. And how do you become expendable? When you don't produce. SGA won an MVP. SGA won a finals MVP in the same year. Guess what? He got awarded today. 4-year, $285 million deal. That's loyalty. That's production. That's me showing up to work. That's me doing what I got to do so I can be able to get paid. Okay? And that deal doesn't even kick in until 2027, 2028. I don't want to hear about these NBA players are not loyal. You're expendable. Okay? So again, LeBron James, you look at that contract, you compare it to SGA and a contract that LeBron James had. He never had a contract longer than 2 years. Why? Because he's not loyal like SGA. SGA signed a 4-year deal on top of his current deal. He's going to stay in OKC and retire there more than likely. LeBron James, well, I'm going to do the 2-year route. I'm going to do the 1-year route. Why? Because he always has to have the leverage. That's why he used shorter contracts. Lakers, do yourself a favor. And I'm going to finish this in my second lap. Trade LeBron James.
Okay, so I'm pretty fascinated by this Lakers timeline, and of course, it all starts off with the big move you just mentioned, the move that no one saw coming in February of the Lakers trading and acquiring Luka Doncic from the Mavericks. And obviously, it was a stunning decision by Dallas. No one saw it coming, especially given the return they got back. But the reason why that was so impactful to me was because the Lakers felt like they were a sinking ship with no direction after LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Those are two older players, and you just had no idea what exactly their future held after that. And even with those two guys, before they got Doncic, they weren't winning much. Then they make the Doncic trade, and the narrative after that trade was, okay, the way this team fits isn't really great, but who cares? They could lose in the first round, and it won't even matter because their future is now set. They have one of the 5 best players in the NBA right now, and all they need to focus on is just building around him and trying to win a championship with Luka Doncic. And that narrative changed because throughout the season, after the Doncic trade, the Lakers looked like they figured some things out. They started playing some really good defense. LeBron and Luka were playing well together, and they were a very popular NBA Finals pick going into the playoffs. Now, ultimately, that went out the window. They lose in the first round to the Timberwolves. But I think the question the Lakers have to answer is, was that Timberwolves series something you overreact to? Because everything you got nervous about within the fit of this team was exposed in that Timberwolves series. Can Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves and LeBron James, those 3 guys, could they play together on the same team? Or is the defense just not good enough? Because clearly defense was an issue in that Minnesota series. Anthony Edwards cooked them up. The other big issue that got exposed was that lack of size. This team does not have a big man right now, and all of a sudden these bigs are just flying off the board. Brook Lopez was a potential target. He signs with the Clippers. I was surprised by that. He's going to be the backup to Ivica Zubac. I thought that was going to be a possible target for the Lakers. You saw Miles Turner sign with Milwaukee today. I thought that was a guy. I didn't think he was leaving Indiana, but if he was, why didn't the Lakers decide to go after him? So DeAndre Ayton is really the only name left for them on the board. He wasn't even expected to be a free agent, but Portland was so done with him, they decided to buy him out. That better be a guy the Lakers get. But even if they do get him, I don't really know if it gets them over the hump. The point I'm trying to make here, Will, is I do not think a team with LeBron James at this point in his career and Luka Doncic together is going to win a championship. The basketball fit doesn't do it for me. And it's even worse with Austin Reeves. I thought Austin Reeves could be a guy you possibly flip for a big man. It doesn't look like that's happening because he's making a lot of money, and I don't really know who the big man you could flip him for is to be able to get that money to work. So I do expect Reeves to be back with the Lakers. And the thing I wonder about here is, what was it, last week, 2 weeks ago, LeBron James went on his podcast and he really called out ring culture in the NBA. I'd love to know what you make of that. But if anyone could be talking about ring culture and the problems that provides, it better not be him. That ain't who I think it is. Like LeBron James, really, you're the guy talking about that? But despite those comments, Lil, I think we're naive to believe that LeBron James doesn't want to win another championship really badly. He's going to be 41 years old. We know how important the GOAT debate is to him. Like, this guy wants another ring. And in my opinion, I don't think the Lakers are the best spot for him to do that. Now, we know the reason why he went to LA in the first place wasn't even really for basketball reasons. He bailed the Lakers out. The Lakers franchise was in a rough spot prior to LeBron James coming there in the summer of 2018, and he won them a championship, so he delivered. But I think Cleveland is a better spot for him if he wants to try to win a championship. Now, what would that deal look like? I don't know. And would Cleveland even want him back? They should, in my opinion, because I think the fit of that team has questions. But we know LeBron has left Cleveland twice. Would they even want to take him back? But that's really the point I'm trying to make here, Lil, is I don't love the way this Laker team fits together right now. I don't think Rob Pelinka, despite the Doncic trade, I think that trade was more a result of Nico Harrison's incompetence than any sort of Rob Pelinka brilliance. I don't know if Rob Pelinka is the right guy to figure these things out. And I don't know if the Lakers are the right spot for LeBron to stay with if he does want to win another championship.
Again, it goes back to my loyalty point because LeBron James is not loyal to understand that the Lakers plan to build around Luka Doncic for the future. And why shouldn't they? Right? It's not every night you get a call from a guy on drugs and Nico Harrison that says, you know what? I want to trade you Luka Doncic. Do you want him? You're not going to get that call ever. Okay, that was once in a lifetime. They're going to take the deal, obviously, and their new outlook is going to be we got to build around Luka for the future. That's our guy. LeBron James should understand that and be aware of that and understand that fully and abide by that, or leave, or request a trade. Do what you normally been doing, because if LeBron James want the Lakers to prioritize win now moves, the problem is prioritizing win now moves jeopardizes the team ability to build around Luka Doncic. Because win now move, you have to know who fits around Luka. You can't do the two. The Lakers need to focus on one timeline right now, which is building around Luka Doncic, not the timeline of pleasing LeBron James. Those days are done. You did it already. You like I said, you hired his son. You wouldn't have hired him or drafted him rather if he was a LeBron James son, right? You hired his podcasting buddy. You gave him the team-friendly deals. You gave him one of the worst decisions you could ever make as far as leverage is giving a player a no-trade clause, which I'm going to talk about in a second, because that's horrible business for any team in any sport, but you gave it to him, right? What more do you need to do? You need to clip his toenails. You need to give him a massage and what? Come on, bro. At the end of the day, you have Luka Doncic. That's your number one priority. You cannot prioritize win now and build around Luka. You have to choose. And if LeBron James is not going to fall in line, this is one time LeBron James needs to fall in line or get out. Okay? Because at the end of the day, you're 40 years old. I'm not going to bend my back over to please you anymore because you're 40 years old. So again, they have to decide that. And again, with the no trade clause, horrible business, LeBron James once again has leverage to go where he wants to go, and the Lakers will have to accept anything because they gave him a no trade clause. So as far as trade options, maybe we could touch on that in a second. Zach, I'll let you respond to everything I just said.
I just think it's a unique spot for LeBron because he's literally never been in this position before. Every team he's ever been on, he is the guy that team builds around. And some teams have done a better job than others, even, the GM stuff. Like, he's even been involved in a lot of those moves before. But I'm curious to see how he really feels about this, because obviously he was on board for the Luka Doncic trade. That was a trade that made the Lakers better. That's a trade they make 10 times out of 10. But the bottom line is, LeBron James and Luka Doncic are both guys that really need the ball in their hands, even at this age. And Austin Reeves is a really good player, but I just don't know how you could win with him and Luka Doncic on the floor at the same time in crunch time, because both those guys are clear liabilities on defense. This team does not have a big man right now. And even at this age, LeBron had a really good season. I was impressed with what he was able to do on the court. However, he has some leverage with the no trade clause, but the Lakers' number one priority right now is not him. It's Luka Doncic, and that's a position he's never been in before. And I was someone, Lil, that when these rumors first started coming out, I was saying to myself, there's no way the Lakers trade him. We know LeBron wants to be in LA for off the court reasons. We know that when it comes to him and the impact he's made on the franchise, they've basically done everything to please him. Would they just move on from him? But if LeBron really wants out, and the rumors are suggesting he might, then we might have something hot cooking.
Look, I'm just tired of LeBron James and his foolishness, shenanigans. Just play basketball, bro. Even when you talk about certain press conferences where he calls out the team, I've seen that plenty of times. Just play basketball again. Zach, I think my point went over your head. That's exactly why European basketball players have took over the game, because all they do is show up to work and do their job and go home and produce. That's why they're getting rewards. That's why teams are loyal to them, unless you're not doing what you're supposed to do. In Luka Doncic's case, he wasn't. That's why SGA has a great contract, a historical contract. Just do what you got to do and go home. All this calling out and using Rich Paul to go on podcasts and talk about these 4 teams lying through his teeth. Ain't no 4 teams reached out to you. LeBron James is 40 years old. They would rather him get cut. Then you'll see more than 4 teams go after LeBron James. You get cut and he's a free agent. But to trade assets and gut our team to trade for LeBron James, there's only literally, I can see 1 team potentially doing that, and it makes sense for. And I want to get into that team right now. And I don't even know if that's a win for the team that's traded for him, but it's logical as far as the parts that he can put in the deal to make it happen. And that's my Knicks. Again, I don't know if the Knicks will want to do that. I don't even know if I would want the Knicks to do that. But when you talk about what the Lakers need as far as what they can get, let's say you throw in Mikal Bridges, because obviously we do have financial obligations. We all know we are in a different time right now when it comes to the second apron. I understand we even shopped, the report saw we even shopped Mikal Bridges during the, for a little bit. I don't know how accurate those are and what we plan on doing with him. But you add him to a potential deal. I'm just throwing out a scenario. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just throwing it out. Mikal Bridges and Mitchell Robinson for LeBron James. The Lakers get their big that they need in Mitchell Robinson, a guy that could be a rim runner, a guy that can rim protect, a guy that can get you rebounds, a guy that can play with Luka. You get Mikal Bridges, a versatile wing defender in 3-and-D, a guy that can play with Luka, and you build around Luka that way. And obviously the Knicks get LeBron James, and what for what that is worth. LeBron James, look, the Knicks have expectations that is unheard of, in Knicks history since probably 1994. The East is wide open. The Tatum injury, the Halliburton injury, the who else I'm missing? The Dame injury, right? LeBron James won championships. He knows how to deal with expectation. I don't know, Zach. What's your thoughts on that potential deal?
I'll say this. I like it a lot for the Lakers. I think Mikal Bridges and Mitchell Robinson are 2 guys that fit perfectly with Luka Doncic. From the Knicks perspective, man, it would be something. I don't know if it's realistic, but yeah, that would be something. I do think that it will be
What's
tough.
your thoughts on a lineup with Brunson, Hart, OG, LeBron, OG LeBron, and Towns?
There's a lot of talent, but there's only one ball. And that would be my concern. Plus, who are the Knicks hiring as their head coach? Do they hire Mike Brown, LeBron's former coach in Cleveland, and try to get him on board that way? I don't know. To be honest, I like the fit in Cleveland for him better. I do think that Cavaliers team, despite the way that Pacers series went and the injuries, I do have my questions about the way those pieces fit together in the playoffs. And I think they could shake something up. I think Jared Allen could be a guy that could be a really good target for the Lakers.
Do you think LeBron can fit with Donovan Mitchell? Do you think they can coexist?
I do. And I think that a top 3 of Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and LeBron should be the favorite in the Eastern Conference by a lot.
I think, and that's another thing that, and that's why this Lakers, LeBron and Luka fit is so, unorthodox, and that's why a lot of people don't think it could work. Because, yeah, sure, we know that you have to build around Luka a certain type of way. The Mavericks experimented different lineups around Luka Doncic over the years before they traded him. But the same thing could be said about LeBron. There's certain players that fit well with LeBron, right? You want to get him a big, you want to get him some shooting. So they're the same player, kind of, and they both on the same team. And I think that's going to obviously present a problem or even cap their ceiling of how far they can go. I do not think they will be able to win a championship. I felt that way strongly when the trade was made. I have no reason after the sample size I got with them in the playoffs and the loss of the Timberwolves to think otherwise and jump ship off of that. So I think for me, the problem, the noise is outweighing the rewards. I think the Lakers right now should do what they need to do as a franchise. They have Luka Doncic, a player, a superstar that they got a gift from, and they need to focus on building around him. And they need to focus on trading LeBron James if LeBron James is going to make this an even bigger distraction and problem, which it already is to me.